Sydney came into the $1 Million Secret hoping to be that girl, but unfortunately, it did not translate well in the game. I think in certain environments, being the it girl can get you places. It can definitely open doors for you, but I just don't feel like this was the right environment. So she's come in to be the it girl, the party girl, the hot girl. Like, that was her persona coming in, probably coming in to flirt and, maybe entice the men and get far that way. And you know what? I feel like that helped her in the beginning, to be honest. But ultimately, it was not sustainable. And then on top of that, she's the it girl and she's incredibly smart and she's incredibly perceptive. And she didn't make it a secret. I think maybe her being the it girl and playing dumb would have served her better. But I feel like she kind of wanted to be like, yes, I'm the it girl. But then she was like, wait a minute, like, I'm not just this blonde, pretty girl. Like, I'm actually really smart. Like, I'm in medical sales. I've shot a grizzly bear. So it came across as, I'm a cool girl. I'm not like one of the other girls. I'm a cool girl. And again, in her quest to relate to people, it still didn't resonate. Again, with the Lauren business, I think that definitely hurt her game as well. And then on top of the fact that, her allies were dropping like flies, Chris and all of that stuff were dropping like flies. Again, didn't really help her game. But she got really far. And I think with the cards that she was dealt, with the persona that she was trying to pull off, I think she got really far. But at the end of the day, I think near the end, it was a popularity contest. And she didn't do her due diligence in terms of the popularity contest. I don't think she should have come in trying to be that girl. Obviously with Netflix, I think that's usually the prototype, to be honest. So she probably did her homework and was like, usually there is like the pretty girl that makes it to the end. There always is this prototype. But for this specific game, it didn't work. Just because there's, so many walks of life in this game. We had a very diverse cast, and I feel like, it just didn't come across relatable to everyone in the cast, and therefore she wasn't that popular. And like I said, she did make it pretty much till just before the end. And one thing I feel like she should have done more, I think she tried to keep it demure in terms of, when people are saying, why should you keep me to go inside the final? Because Cara, through their challenge that they would lose, and it was now between Cara and Sydnee, who they sent home. Obviously, Sam and Corey, you'd think no brainer they're going to save Cara. But I think she should have threw Cara under the bus a lot more, considering, if she's already on her way out, the probability that her being on her way out is already high, you might as well try and stay guns blazing. She should have been like, look, you guys are not looking at Cara, and it's so obvious that she's the millionaire. I can't confirm it, but I'm pretty sure that she threw the challenge. I don't know if she told you guys about it, but she threw the challenge. She could have won, and she threw the challenge to get me out because she knows that I'm onto her. Like, you guys, popularity-wise, I'm not a threat. Like, does that make any sense that she would want to get me out? It's because she knows that I'm onto her. I would have pulled that card, and I would have, because at this point, it's very high pressure. At this point, if anyone's going to crack under pressure, it's going to be now. And I feel like she should have pushed that button and watched Cara blow up. I feel like if she called her out on throwing the challenge, she would have blown up. And the fact that she told Corey about it as well, if Corey now looked at her lying about it at the table, after she's talking about, I've never lied in this game, I'm so trustworthy. Because would Cara admit that she threw the challenge at the round table? I feel like, when you're on defense mode, she would have lied and Corey would have seen her lie. And I think maybe that's when he would have been like, oh shit, she's the millionaire. But even if he thought that, would that be enough not to send Sydnee home? Because that could be an advantage to know who the millionaire is and act like you don't know at the end. Because would you want to be with an obvious millionaire, or would you want to be with, take your chances of getting the million, not getting it, and then getting somebody who could easily outsmart you? That's the question. Because at this point, I think it was pretty obvious that Sydnee wasn't the millionaire, especially if she was, because she could pretty much prove that she had immunity. But then it was like, what did you have immunity from? No, because the person who gained immunity was not the millionaire. And she probably could have proved that. And it would have been realistic. So I feel like she should have been a lot more aggressive, and maybe she could have got to the final, but maybe she was just like, if I come on too strong, I'm going to look even more guilty. But I feel like you were already on your way out, so you might as well try and claw to the finish line. But yeah, ultimately, I think it was the wrong play to come in as the it girl. I think it's just best, as a woman, to just try and come in there and be relatable to everybody. Don't come in there being a blonde bombshell, dye your hair brown before you come in and put some glasses on, go for the wholesome vibe. So yeah, I feel like that's what it was. The popularity thing was a factor here. She did not have that popularity, and I feel like she was not as aggressive as she could have been in the penultimate round table. But I got to hear from you guys. What was Sydnee's downfall? Was it her trying to be the it girl and it just not resonating? Could she have made it to the final if she really went hard at Cara? I got to hear from you guys.